Hey, my name's Patrick, and oh, sorry, it just started recording. My name's Patrick, and I'm with the lovely
Leah Harner.
Leah Harner.
Married to Patrick.
We're married, and I've been wanting to do this for a while. This will be my second interview. If you haven't seen my first interview with Christy Chester, I highly recommend checking it out. But I wanted to interview Leah about fitness, family, and faith. And so I don't know where this interview is going to go. I'm thinking it should only last 15 minutes, but we'll see what happens. But I think you're in for a little bit of a roller coaster ride, so this should be pretty exciting. So I met Leah back in 2000. Hold on a second. 2006 is when Leah and I first met, and I'll spare you the details. Maybe I'll share some of those details later. How we met, fell in love.
It's a great story.
It's a really great story. But for this interview, for the interview purposes, it's important to know that Leah was not interested in fitness. And actually, she sent me an email when we were not dating and to ask me questions about fitness. And I later found out that she was kind of like, hey, I like you, which I didn't know. She was asking me questions about fitness. And I'm like, oh yeah, you want to do this many sets and reps and do these exercises. But would it be fair to say you were not that interested in fitness
absolutely
when we first started dating?
Yes.
So let me ask you this, because you're very fit. I mean, you're strong, very strong, and you work out regularly. And you have a sparkle on your. You're
with children.
You're a very busy person. I mean, Leah's a homeschool mom. We chose to homeschool our kids. Leah also has a young living business. And she's also a mother, a wife, homeschool mom, business. Mm-hmm. You work doing desktop publishing as well. Yeah. So, I mean, and now you're committed to fitness. You're committed to exercise. Mm-hmm. So what got you interested in fitness?
Well, I have to say you're definitely the catalyst for that in a very big way. I had very little preconceived ideas about fitness coming into meeting you and discussing about exercise, which I think was really helpful because I was able to approach everything with a fresh perspective. And so
because Leah does not have a sports background.
Right. I mean,
what kind
of athlete.
What kind of stuff were you interested in as a kid?
I mean, I did maybe like a summer, if even, of some tennis lessons, a summer, if even, of some volleyball lessons at a YMCA.
Yeah, I started working out when I was 6, and I never stopped, and I played almost every sport you can think of.
Yeah, maybe like 3 summers of dance when I was much older, so like everybody else had been doing it since they were kids, and I was just like so far behind. Really just... It was not my thing. I was more of an indoor girl than an outdoor girl. So even just getting out in nature and hiking a lot was just not like, it wasn't my norm. So it was very foreign, I guess, to me. I had never set foot in a gym until college. And you were very much, that's kind of the impetus behind that, in motivation of wanting to get to know you better. But really, I think the more I got to know you and learn about your view on fitness, it was very eye-opening.
Because, I mean, I should make this a point. Did I ever try to force you to do exercise or fitness?
No. See, I think what I picked up on was you were passionate about it, and I admire people who are passionate about things, and I love to learn why they're passionate about it. And I love to talk to people who love learning, too. And Patrick is somebody who loves learning, and he doesn't stop learning. And I was attracted to that among many other things. And so, getting his thoughts on, I always kind of like to hear the thoughts behind the thoughts. So he might share something with me, a general exercise concept, but I love to learn the why behind the reasoning. And so I think that was really what got me thinking more about how the body works, what is actually good for the body. Even, motivations to exercise were something we talked about. And for me, coming into it, I had nothing I was training for, specifically working towards. But the more I began to think about the body, it was something that I wanted to maintain health throughout my life. I wanted to be functional, maintain functionality. And even as a result of my faith, I mean, I want to be able to share truth with people, and I want to be around to do that, and around to impact the lives of my kids in that regard. And so there was, and even just, kind of the view of the body that the scripture talks about. It has a very high view of this, body that God created.
Yeah, and scripture seems to be pro body.
Exactly.
Pro material, pro earthly stuff. And redeeming that, those things. And so, a lot of those things informed my motivation to try to get into this world. And I wouldn't even say the world being, not the world of fitness at large, but to start caring about my body, I guess, is really as simple as it was, to start actually putting in the effort to maintain fitness. Wow.
Really.
So your why for exercising, because a lot of people, when they think of exercise or fitness, and I meant to ask you this question at the beginning, but a lot of times I'll ask people, when I say the word fitness, what image comes into your mind? And a lot of people would say, oh, I think of an Olympic athlete, or I think of a bodybuilder, or I think of, big, strong muscles. It sounds like for you, your why of why you do fitness is none of those things. Mm-hmm. The why for you is something much deeper. It actually, hi Talia. Honey, we're doing a little interview. Are you okay? You want some hair out? You want your hair out? Wait, honey, speak in a clear voice. We don't understand what you're saying, honey.
When I walk it. Remember, I told you when you wake up, it'll be more.
Our daughter, you can't see her; she's just off screen, and her hair is flopping, and it's quite an issue.
Okay.
So I'm gonna talk for a little bit while Leah takes care of that with Talia. But yeah, so something Leah is getting at is her why behind exercise. And that's, I think it's really it's helpful for everyone to identify what that why is for you. Why are you training? And the more that why hits close to home, the better it's going to be for you. So, for example, if you have a vain goal in mind, I'll just be real honest here. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good, but if your only motivation for exercise is you want to look good, that's probably not going to last. I mean, a lot of people who want to lose weight or look great for a wedding or something like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're looking for lasting change, you need to dig deeper. And so for Leah, I don't know if you caught it, but what she's training for is I heard at least two things, maybe three, but the big two things I heard was one, training for God's mission. So actually wanting to be out there, physically using her body to love and serve people, and then I think she said tell people about Jesus, and that requires a body to do that. And then two, to be there. Sorry, Talia's having a really rough time with her hair. You can hear in the background. And then two is to love and serve her children, again, which requires a body. And so wanting to take care of this body God has given us to make sure it's functioning optimally as well as it can be, because we're still broken. There's still the possibility of disease or other things happening. But that is her reason for working out. Now, what's neat about my relationship with Leah is she's developed a love for exercise, but just as her husband, I can't force that issue. I've had to just gently invite her along. And hopefully what you heard is that Leah saw my passion for it, and I've patiently explained that to her over the years as she's asked questions. And so I've sort of let her lead the way, let her ask the questions. And then when she's like, yeah, I want to work out, I want to learn more, and then I'll answer those questions and then and help her work out, help her exercise. Now, there's a lot of other things I want to dig into with Leah when she gets back, but she's hanging out with Talia right now, is we also train our children. We have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and 1-year-old, and we actually train all of them. But now the training for each child looks a little different, especially for the 1-year-old. A lot of our training just looks like play. So we spend a lot of time in physical contact with our third daughter, Trinity, and playing with her, tickling her, gentle wrestling. But then our other children, they think of exercise as just it's fun. Exercising is just a fun game. They love working out with daddy. They love working out with mommy. And so one big point I want to make is we never use exercise as punishment. Ever. Zero. For example, I know a lot of parents out there, when their kids mess up, they'll say, well, you have to do 10 push-ups, or you have to run 30 laps around the house. We never do that as parents. We never use exercise as punishment. And here's why. I'll give you an example. A lot of guys I played football with, high school or even college, or any sports when I was younger, do not exercise anymore. And I think this is one of the reasons why, and I think I've heard a few guys actually articulate this, is because so often what exercise was, well, one, it was about beating up your body to make you mentally tougher. And so they were just in constant pain. But two, often exercise was used as a form of punishment. So if someone fouled out, or too many flags got thrown, or too many penalties led to too many yards lost in a football game, you'd have to do so many suicides or sprints, or we used to call them suicides. It's probably not politically correct anymore, but it was this sprinting up and down the field. And so anytime you messed up, you were punished in practice through exercise. And this type of exercise, it never reached the effect the coach wanted unless you were near puking. And if you're at that level of exertion, that's probably not good to create a positive internal environment for things to adapt and change. So with Leah and I, as we've worked with our kids with fitness, we want them to have a positive relationship with exercise. We want them to have warm, fuzzy feelings about exercise. And yes, of course, we want them to work hard, to put forth lots of effort, but we want to establish that foundation of having a positive relationship with exercise. So we've had to cultivate that with our children. And so what that looks like, training looks like a lot of just having fun together. I won't say it's a reward, but it's something they look forward to do. And so with training our children, like, what does that look like at home? Well, sometimes it does look like doing normal exercise-y type things, like doing sit-ups and working on push-ups and doing burpees and doing that kind of stuff. Sometimes it looks like we live in an apartment complex and we have a bottom floor, a second floor, and then a third floor. Sometimes it looks like them running down the hall, running up all the flights of stairs, and then running all the way back down. And doing that a bunch of times. They love doing that. Of course, we have to do it during a time of the day when not a lot of people are around. Otherwise, they get really loud. Sometimes it looks like running laps around our apartment building. Sometimes it looks like, we did a virtual Spartan kids race, which I would highly recommend. It's super easy. Sometimes it looks like doing that, which is these kind of predetermined tasks. And for doing the task, I gave my kids a medal at the end. And that's not something we do often, is reward our children with things like that. But it was kind of fun. It was special, very memorable. My daughters were so proud of winning that medal. Sometimes it looks like just physical exertion through wrestling. So my daughters and I will wrestle, and I'm not much of a wrestler, but I'll teach them little different moves, and we'll laugh, and then I'll tickle them. Sometimes it looks like that. Sometimes it just looks like jumping up and down. Sometimes it looks like we have this very sturdy broom handle that I can kind of jam into their bunk bed, and they'll swing from the broom handle, and they'll do pull-ups. I'll see how long they can hang. Things like that. And along with that, I'm starting to educate them about their bodies, what muscles are, what bones are. They're really curious. My daughter came up to me and said, "Daddy, this bone is really hard." Or actually, it was her shin. And she started feeling her shin. She's like, "This is very hard. Like, what is this?" I was like, "God made that bone. That's actually called your tibia." And we got to talk about bones and how wonderful it is that God made bones and muscles and how amazing they are, and a little bit about how they work and what a joint is. A joint is a bendy part in your arm and in your body. So we got to talk a little bit about that. And our kids are developing this really positive relationship with exercise. Again, you keep hearing me say this over and over again. It's something they enjoy. It's something that they like doing. And it's been fun to see Leah grow. I'm referring to Leah as if she's still here. To see Leah grow as a fitness educator. So I'm a personal trainer. I've been one since 2005. And it's been fun to see Leah grow as a trainer. She is training our children, teaching them about exercise. And you can hear it behind me. Talia woke up my other daughter Trinity, and they're crying right now. So let's have to deal with it. Yeah, she's grown in learning how to train our children, how to help them get strong, fit, and healthy. And then they usually start their day with school with exercise, and then they're ready to go to their full day of school, learning how to read and write and identify numbers and learn about history and all those super fun things. So Leah has grown I would not call Leah a gym rat, but she's grown in her understanding of exercise, how important it is, and it's something she wants to do. And then also growing in how to teach others about exercise and why it's important, that it's not just reserved for bodybuilders. It's not just reserved for athletes, but it's something that we believe all Christians are called to maintain and take care of this body, so we can function in the world, so we can share the gospel, so we can tangibly love and serve people, which requires us to have a body. Now, that's not saying if you have some physical ailment or something has happened to you, you've been in an accident, and you don't have the option of using your body, or your body is beginning to fail you, you can still fully glorify and worship God and love and serve the people around you. But if you've got it, why not use it? Use it to the maximum. One person that comes to mind is I'm reading the life and diary of David Brainerd. And if you haven't heard of David Brainerd, I highly recommend you looking him up. I'm reading his diary right now. It was compiled and edited by Jonathan Edwards. They both lived in the 1700s, and David Brainerd was a missionary to Native Americans, and he had to overcome incredible odds and obstacles to reach these different Native American nations and tribes to teach them about Jesus. He had to overcome incredible odds, and he used his body to do that. He had to physically climb up and over stuff. He had to ride a horse. He had to sometimes, at one point, his horse was poisoned. So he had to navigate this treacherous landscape with his horse, torrential downpour, and he had to use his body to accomplish that. So I hope that gives good motivation to everyone listening out there, why it's important to take care of our bodies. One of the other things I wanted to talk about with Leah is the role that sports and even racing has played in her life of getting fit. And that's kind of a trick question, because the answer is very simple, is it has not played a role in her life at all. She started to train for 2 different obstacle courses, both of which did not happen. I'm trying to remember what happened to the first one. But the second one got canceled because of the COVID-19. So Leah's life and training has primarily been about training for these deeper purposes, not for racing. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes training for something like a race or a physical challenge can be a spark to help you get on the road to fitness. But Leah, and my hope for you is always that it goes to that deeper level, that you're training for a greater purpose. One other man that comes to mind is Jonathan Edwards, a man I mentioned earlier. He has these, I think it's 99, maybe it's not 99, but he has these series of resolutions where he became resolved to worship God using his everything. So in his resolutions, you can even find where it says he's committed to eat healthy food and drinking healthy things. The way he wrote it was nothing that would upset his stomach, but eating healthy food that would allow his body to function fully. In a biography I read of Jonathan Edwards, it talks about how committed he was to his physical health so he could maximally serve God. He could optimize his body to fully serve God. And his form of exercise was riding horses and chopping wood. That's what he would do to stay fit, to stay healthy. So anyways, there's a lot more in there to share. I hope this was helpful for you to think through a little bit about fitness, a little bit about family, a little bit about faith. Again, my name's Patrick, and I was here with my wife Leah. She's taking care of our kids right now. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video, and I would love to share more of this kind of stuff with you in the future. All right, take care. Bye.